Let's talk about one of the ways that you can get your citizenship that is not as popular as others, but definitely can be worth. Hello everyone, I'm Irena from Nomad Capitalist, where we help people to go where they're treated best. As we already discussed multiple times now, there are multiple ways on how you can get your second citizenship. There's citizenship by naturalization, there's citizenship by birth, citizenship by marriage, citizenship by descent, citizenship by investment, and a lot of others that you can possibly look into. But there is one that is not as popular as others, and that is citizenship by exception. Today, we will talk about what is citizenship by exception, or how we like to call it, CBE. Citizenship by exception, or CBEs, is exactly that. It means that you will be accepted or approved directly by the government or the president to get the citizenship of some country when they see that you have something to offer for that country. Now, citizenship by exception is definitely sometimes mixed with citizenship by investment. The reason for that is that some of the countries can say that you can get our citizenship, but you need to make a contribution that our country would benefit from. Again, similar to citizenship by investment, but not quite the same. The reason and what is different between those two is that actually citizenship by exception means that you're approved directly by the president or the government. So in every country's legislation, there is usually ways on how you can get that country's citizenship. Again, that's citizenship by investment, citizenship by marriage, citizenship by birth, and so on. So a lot of rules on how you can get that country's citizenship. Some of the countries have also a citizenship by exception in there. That usually means that there is a party within the government that has the right to approve someone's citizenship based on the interests of that country. So if that country will have some of the benefits of you being their citizen, they would probably grant you citizenship. Citizenship by exception actually happens much more often than you would imagine. There are a lot of examples that I can mention on some of the people who got citizenship of some other country by this route. The first example that pops in my mind is, for example, Angelina Jolie. She got the Cambodian passport for her community work with United Nations, and she will be visiting Cambodia a lot in the next couple of years. So they, for example, granted her citizenship. Now, of course, they will have to look at this in both ways. So Angelina will, for example, benefit from Cambodian passport because she will visit Cambodia every once in a while. But Cambodia, on the other hand, it's the promotion of their country. So Angelina Jolie has the passport of Cambodia. It sounds pretty big, right? This is what happens usually with some other people, for example, scientists or artists, or if you are a singer or an actor. Another example are athletes. There are a lot of football players, for example, worldwide, that have multiple passports. It's not because they have ancestors from all around the world. That's completely impossible, but there are a lot of countries that would grant them citizenship just in return for the promotion for their country. Apart from this, there is obviously a visa-free travel access. So if some football player plays in some country, obviously, and their primary passport requires them to get a visa for that country, of course, that country would either give them work visa, of course, or they would grant them passports so they would travel easily. In some countries, as I mentioned before, there is citizenship by exception that is possible through contribution. That is where this actually citizenship by exception is getting mixed with citizenship by investment. It kind of makes the similar point that you have to contribute some amount of money to that country in order to get citizenship. The difference is that citizenship by investment is the official program. You can find it anywhere. You can find it in legislation of that country and everywhere. Citizenship by exception is not the official program. And you cannot know if you are 100% eligible because this is all determined by the government and by the president while evaluating if you have enough to become a citizen of that country. When I say enough, it means something that that country would benefit from. The process of getting citizenship by exception is usually similar to other citizenship applications. So, of course, that for everything, you do need your basic documents, such as the birth certificate, marriage certificate, copy of the passport, police report, and other things. The paperwork is not as extensive as, for example, citizenship by investment, but it is definitely it definitely can cause a hassle because, again, there are validity dates, there are translations involved, and so on. Once you have collected the documents and once you have submitted the documents, those documents together with the proof on how you can make their country better goes to the government. Now, this can be either I'm an actor, I'm a singer, I am an athlete or anything like that, or it can be the contribution that I mentioned earlier. After that, you would get the approval and you can apply for a passport. When we talk about contributions, that usually means that a lot of countries would say, show me that you can do something extraordinary for my country and I will grant you citizenship. Some of the example can be if you go to some of the country that is not that developed, for example, in a matter of, let's say, cryptocurrency or something like that. If you go to that country as someone who has a cryptocurrency background or similar, if you go to that country and say, I will open a company that will be for cryptocurrency trading. I will employ 50 people from that and that country and provide them employment. And I will help your country to get more developed in terms of the cryptocurrency. They may grant you citizenship. Now, this was just an example. And again, not all of the countries will say that you can actually get their passport and that's their citizenship that way. But when I say contribution, I mean something like that. There are a lot of countries, especially in Europe, that are offering this. For example, in Poland, they would ask you to contribute a couple of $1 million into the failing companies. And if you do that, they would grant you citizenship. Slovenia, for example, can also offer citizenship by exception if you incorporate the company and if you hire at least 15 people from Slovenia to work for you and if you contribute 3 million. In Austria, for example, you need to invest at least 3 million to 5 million euros to the country and you would be granted citizenship. So these programs are usually, again, expensive when we're talking about that kind of contribution. If you are one of the lucky ones that can get this citizenship without actually making the contribution, if the country will accept you just because the country would benefit because of you, then I don't see any reason why you shouldn't go for it. Depending on the country where you're actually applying for, it's very important that you have a very legit source of funds. So you have to submit and to provide all of the source of funds documents to prove from where your money is coming from. But if you're from the cryptocurrency world, they don't want to see how I have 12 Bitcoins. Here's the proof that I have 12 Bitcoins. They actually want to see from where you got the money in the first place to buy those 12 Bitcoins, whether that was by selling a home or whether that was by, salary or anything like that. They want to see that proof. So it can be quite extensive. And if you're applying through the contribution part and in another part, either way, they do need to see that that country would benefit from you, because if you do not have the legit source of funds, that country would mostly suffer from you being their citizen. Now, depending on also the country where you want to apply, the benefits can also differ, of course. So apart from, having just a Plan B passport or visa-free travel access, if you're applying for an EU country, you can live anywhere within Europe. You can work anywhere within the Europe without the need to actually go through such a hassle that you would usually go if you are, for example, US citizen or Canadian one. So generally, this is it. If you're looking for a second passport, I would suggest that definitely citizenship investment option can be a bit cheaper than the contribution one. But if you're looking for a specific passport like Austria or Slovenia or something like that, this is the only option that would benefit you really. So we talk about some other countries that are offering this and go into a bit more details about this in our annual conference that happened this year in Kuala Lumpur, and that you can easily join by joining our waiting list for Nomad Capitalist Live 2024 on our website.